Thank you so much for being here, Jayda.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I guess we want to talk to you about motherhood, and coming from the perspective of someone who's potentially going to enter motherhood in the near future.
Just to preface this, I am not pregnant.
Yes. I know.
I thought we were going to get an exclusive.
We need a siren.
No. Imagine that would have been. I'll maybe we'll like kibosh this one and like wait a little bit longer. Be like, hey, no. No, yes, motherhood. I getting your DM, Sam. I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was just very perfect timing.
Yeah,
getting your message, because
synchronicity.
literally. Yeah, and it's definitely been, motherhood is on the brain, and how to navigate that, and timing of that, and the fears around that, because we're all self-employed. And we've got to be the ones to carry the baby, you know, there's that little thing. So.
Well, that's exactly what we want to talk to you about, like everything you just mentioned.
Yeah. Has this been something that you've wanted to do for a long time, or is this like a new thought? Tell us about kind of your ideas on motherhood, or have you always wanted to be a mother?
No, I think like I was always on the fence. I was kind of like, yeah, like it'd be cool. Like maybe I'll have one kid. That was probably me in my teens growing up, and just kind of thinking like that's the thing you do, is have kids. But I wasn't really keen on doing it right away. And then I am one of those people who just woke up one day and I was like, I want to have kids. Like,
wow.
Now. And that happened, I think, like around 2018, I would say. Yeah. And it really was like, yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, big
strong
time. Like the thing that you hear about, like, where you just literally are like, I want to have a baby and I want to do it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, life was just happening, and that wasn't really, I wasn't in the place where I felt like I could provide for a kid in a safe way. And I mean that in the sense that I was traveling a ton. At that point, I was living in Berlin, but I was thinking of moving. I wasn't with anyone who I knew I could have a baby with. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
And it helps. It helps. Like slight importance there. And yeah. And also I grew up in a place where I grew up in a house. I grew up in a home, and my parents worked really hard to provide a safe home for me. And that's something I really want to work towards for my future kids. Fast forward to, like, what is it now? Like 6 years later, almost. Those have been the things since that point that I've been working towards, like finding a partner that I trust, who I know is going to be there with me, who I know will be a good father, being in a place where I feel safe, like in a country where I somewhat understand the medical system, and I'm in a place where I can communicate well my needs. And I just bought a house earlier this year, and that was like the big one of like, Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's been, like a lot of saving and slowly moving towards like inch by inch.
Wow.
And just getting a house where I know we can grow into it for a family. That was something I really wanted, especially for my partner, Daryl. Like, he grew up moving a lot as a kid. And so that was something that for him, and something that I understood as well, because I didn't move a lot as a kid, that we wanted to have like that kind of stability for them. And like, no judgment on anyone. It's just, I'm just telling my, the things that resonate with us, and our experiences. And so now, like, we got married last year.
Yes.
Another congratulations.
Thank you. And this is like, to all the listeners, like, this is just how insane I am. Like, me and Daryl, like, we got to a point where we wanted, like, we knew we were going to be together forever. Like, this was our commitment. We were like wanting to build a family together, and we talked about getting married, and that was something we both wanted to do. And like, I don't know, let's say like a year late, like, was it even a year later? Yeah, maybe like not even like 5 months later. I'm just like, when are you gonna ask me to marry you? And he's like,
so let's wrap this thing up. Let's get it going.
What do you mean? Like, I am going to ask you, but what? I was like, well, I want to have kids by the time I'm like 35, but I want to get married before that, and I just don't want you waiting too long.
So you need to hurry up.
Like, I'm really being vulnerable. Like, this is how insane I am. I can be, at least.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being honest with what you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Exactly.
And he was just like, okay. Like,
and then he got married.
Yeah, he was like on it. Like, he's a great guy. Like, he proposed to me like that winter.
Aww.
We got married like a year, like, not, I guess, 10 months later. And then now it's so interesting. So the reason why getting your message, Sam, was so poignant is that I've literally, like, went off birth control like in July. And that has been such a game changer for me. I've been on birth control for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And I feel like a completely new person.
Really? In what way? Tell us. Please tell us.
That is so interesting.
Like, it's crazy. I know, like, I have so many girlfriends who do not take birth control. Like, it makes them really depressed. It makes their mood swings go crazy during PMS, or in general. And I always thought I was one of those people who just, like, I was lucky. I was like, oh, birth control doesn't really affect me. And now, like, coming off of it, I'm realizing that I feel so much more myself.
Wow.
I have a lot more energy. It's been a year of me slowly, my love for DJing has been declining. I know no one would probably believe that when they see me perform, but, the inner workings have been difficult. And all of a sudden I love DJing again. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I did all this, this is why I've built a career around this, is because I love to do it. And I feel more in tune with my body. I feel grounded. I just feel more myself. And in that, I was literally planning. I was like, September, October, we're going to like start making babies. Like, we're going to start trying. Yeah. And I literally started getting like panic around it. The idea of having a kid right now at this exact moment because I feel so good in my body. And I think it's just, I guess I want to tell this part of my story is just because I just have such an awareness that bringing a life into this world isn't a light thing. And for me, timing is important. And I want to be making a baby when I'm excited, not panicking.
Yeah.
So I've put it actually on hold, but for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Because I just also am aware of like my age and like things like that. But it doesn't have to be exactly now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Sorry. Can you tell us a little bit more about that panic? Like,
yeah. It was so strange. It really surprised me because for the last so many years, every time I think of a kid, I would get so excited and just like so many, like one of my dear friends, she's actually Australian as well. And she has 4 kids and she started having kids. Oh my God. I know. She's one of those people like when we were like, I've known her since I was 5 years old. And when everyone would be like the teacher would be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And someone would be like, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a doctor. She'd be like, I want to be a mom.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. So that makes sense.
So like, she's just following like the exact life path that she knew she was supposed to be on. And and just seeing her with her kids, like gives me so much joy and excitement.
Aww.
And being around her kids, like I love her kids so much. And it's just, like it really was a thing. And then it really just like, where are we now? It's like a few weeks ago. Like this is like really recent. That's like, it's literally just like in the last 3 weeks that when I thought of like, okay, here's the moment, like, doing ovulation strips, to figure all the cycles and like what's happening in your cycle. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do it. Like, and it would feel like a pressure in my chest, like all the typical anxiety things. Like I'm a very anxious person, so I'm very well aware of my anxiety and my panic. So I've learned over so many years to take pause when that happens and assess where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it is just a feeling. And it's not tied to anything really. But this was very much tied to something specific. And so I was like, okay, let's just stop and take a listen. And I think, and it's interesting too, because like you do have like those pressures of like I'm 34 and of like the clock is ticking and like things like that. And there's something empowering to be like, I understand the clock is ticking, but I'm also enjoying my body right now. And to press pause on that. And that doesn't mean I'm saying no to it. It just means that I'm figuring out the right time for me. There's so much more in terms of timing that we can talk about, like how scheduling and touring and all that shit. But
I mean, this is it. It's a massive life change, and I think it's commendable though, and I think it's amazing that you've really listened to your body as well and gone, actually, I just want to sit with this for now and enjoy, the freedom of feeling mentally and physically like well in yourself. Because like you said, it is a massive change. Granted, it's for 9 months, but
it's forever at the same time.
It's basically a whole year. Yeah, exactly. And it does. I mean, 9 months doesn't sound much, but actually, I can tell you now, it feels long.
Totally. And I think it's also just like I think I'm just very aware how my life is going to change, and how it's not going to be about me, and it's not going to be about Daryl. It's not going to be about us. It's like it'll be about us as a family unit and how that's going to shift. And just kind of stealing away this little time that we have left that before we start having kids, like, and just being conscious with it.
Yeah, because you're only
that's
married.
So romantic.
Because you've been married. Sorry, you've been married for how long now?
Literally, we just had our anniversary this past weekend. So.
Yeah. Oh. Exactly. And you're allowed to relish in that, you know? And I think, again, like you said, it is a big change in a relationship. So having time to just be you two is special.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, you sounded kind of Australian just then. Thanks, guys. You teasing me?
Maybe just a tad. I don't know.
No, I'm kidding.
You kidding me? I love Australia.
So it sounds to me like you're a very sort of considered person, like just talking through all of that stuff, like, and what we were talking about before we were recording, like about your relationship and stuff. You're very like, you know what you want, you know when you want it. And I fully respect that. It's so cool that you're like listening to your body, as Helena said. And yeah.
Thank you.
What do you think
in that sense? You're right.
What do you think do you think once you do make the decision to start trying, what do you think it will be? Will it just be the removal of the panic, or will it be like, are you going to think about stuff like your touring schedule, or like, I don't know, like what kind of things are going to go through your head when you make that decision?
I already am thinking about it. Like, wow, yeah. This is just like, again, like the kind of person I am. Like, I'm just like very much like an A-type personality. And so, yeah, like this is like, yeah, I'll tell you guys the ins and outs, but I guess I want to preface this that whenever I go about decision making, I feel like I'm very lucky in the sense that I set out goals and a path to get to those goals, but fully aware that that path might change and the goalpost might shift, you know? And that's completely okay. It's just, I am someone who really finds a deep sense of comfort and stability within structure. It's just how I was brought up, and just the type of life circumstances I've had. And so for me, like when it comes to touring, immediately I think, okay, well, when do I take time off? I'm someone who takes time off usually like towards mid-January to like, I'd say about March. I try and take a couple months off. And I'm like very aware that I need to be relaxed. I need to not be stressed. I need to be in a good place in terms of, when the best time is to try. Then I also think of when is my biggest money making time within the year, and will I be able to do that? And then I also think of, okay, you just had an album, you know, the first summer, thank you. Like the first summer is literally all your friends just getting used to the track. And the second summer afterwards is when they actually know the tracks. It's like both of us, for example, is a perfect example. Like people sat on that song for like a year and a half before they were out listening to it. And I'm already seeing that, like, this past weekend is the first weekend where I was playing songs from my new album and people knew them. And so it's just also like the way that this music industry works is not built for any like pregnancy whatsoever. And so how can I mold my touring schedule, my livelihood in the best way that is going to help everyone in terms of like my unborn kid and me and Daryl as a family. So I definitely plan on touring pregnant, like, which I think like needs to happen. I think it's important that people see more and more women touring pregnant. Definitely. And if that's also not your thing, that's totally okay too, because pregnancy is a weird and wonderful thing. You know, so like, again, like these are talks that I have constantly, like with my team. And, you know, saying like, okay, like we're going to book, like I book 6 to 8 months in advance. So we're having very candid conversations about, okay, well, I may not like be able to do these shows when it comes to it, just so you guys know and everyone's on the same page, which
that's actually something I was going to ask. Sorry. So you've already spoken to your team about this and kind of been super open with
I have to.
Your plans.
You kidding me?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Like, it's weird. First, like, for example, like when I decided to like put pause, like, and when I say pause, I mean like, I'm going to probably start trying in 6 months. You know what I mean? It just means like,
she just needs a breath.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like what I kind of tell myself, like, let's revisit it in 6 months and we'll talk about it again with yourself. But the first person I tell is Daryl, my partner, obviously. Second person I tell is my manager.
They say it's like a marriage.
And it's just like, but that is how, I don't know, that's just how, in order for, like, there is this whole machine that is running that is based off of me, essentially. And so how can I be as transparent as possible to my team so that everyone can make informed decisions?
Yeah.
You know, and that's my responsibility as the person who runs this company, essentially, right? And
it's very respectful of their positions in your company, I guess. And I'm lucky that I have people around me who are really supportive. Like my manager, he has 2 kids, so he just had a second one back in December, and so he's like very well aware. He's like, just so you know, like, you need to take time off. And I'm like, I know. I know I need to take.
What do you mean time
I was
off?
like, I know, but I don't want to. But it's just, you know, those things of like just being aware of the possibilities and the different ways things can go, you know? And being ready for that. No, you go, please.
I really liked what you said earlier about how you like to plan everything out, which is amazing, but you're also open to things changing. And I think that's kind of like what I've learned for myself is like the essence of motherhood. Like it begins with pregnancy where you're like, okay, I want it to go this way, but I have no control over this. So blah, blah, blah. And then when you're giving birth, that you have to have that same mentality. And then obviously for the rest of your life, when you're parenting, they're going to throw you bones and you're like, oh my God, what? What? So I feel like you're in a really good mindset for motherhood. And I can really see you like, I can see you thriving as a mother. Aww. You too, Helena. You're already thriving.
We're almost there.
How far along are you?
I've got 3 weeks left.
Oh, shit. Girl's waiting to burst.
I'm ready to pop. But it's so interesting actually hearing you speak about touring schedules and things like that, because obviously this summer I've had to scale back, but I think, again, it's been amazing to be pregnant and to be DJing still and to go, if your body allows it, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can still continue to play. You know, I've been lucky that I've been able to. And, you know, it's fun. It's actually great fun. I think the baby likes it as well. But then I've also, it's so funny you were talking about the time period that you're wanting to have off, because I'm giving birth in October. So I'm like, great. That kind of gives me like around Christmas, you know, and then I can come back in like January, February. So it's like hibernation period anyway.
This is literally what I think. This is exactly how I think.
It's how I've been thinking. I actually think even though it's hot in summer and it's been painfully hot in the UK, it has been nice to be pregnant through summer and to now come into this point of going, okay, now I'm going to have my hibernation
kind of perfect
period.
Timing.
And it's okay. I think it is. I actually think it, I mean, I didn't plan this, but you know, my body knew this is the time to do it.
Exactly. And that's exactly like those kind of thought processes is what I think of like all the time. Like, okay, like when is the best time where I can hunker down with this little like nugget of a human and feel like good in that, you know? And I think it's just also the reality is just like, which we all know, summertime is money making time. Like we all play festivals and I know also like, and this has been happening for many years now, is that I've slowly been scaling back on the number of club gigs that I do as well, so that I can take that time off. But yeah, like I think a lot of this, like a big one also, like I remember Sam, you posting about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was around smoke. And this whole year, that's like been the biggest thing. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to play in half of these places because there is cigarette smoke everywhere. Yeah. And how
it's not nice.
It's not nice. And like things like that are starting to kind of come up around how do you kind of get through this essentially.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have the answers because I played in
I don't either.
Where did I play? I played at Panorama Bar.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That is smoke central. Literally like everyone is smoking in that club. But it's really stressful. And again, like you said, this industry isn't built for pregnant people. Like it's not conducive to being pregnant essentially. So it is hard with club shows. Festivals, again, that's why summer was kind of a good time to be pregnant.
Yeah,
because
true.
Festivals,
You're outside,
you know? So I had like my last club show in June, I think. So I was like 5 months pregnant. And then after that, I've only been outside. And that was a big relief for me. But it's not easy. You can't tell everyone to stop smoking.
No.
Well,
but I think
tried that already. I don't think it worked.
Oh, no.
I was actually told, but I don't know who told me. Someone told me, but Courtesy. Do you know the DJ producer Courtesy?
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
of course, yeah.
She was telling me that in her rider, she has like, I think within 10 meters of the booth, no one's allowed to smoke.
Oh wow,
or something like that.
Nice.
She was like, yeah, and there's fans as well that she requests, as in like. You know, air fans.
Yeah, no, just trying to like go like I have like
not people
like this kind of fan.
She's got enforcers going around. Yeah,
imagine must have fans around me all the time. Oh god,
but there are things that people do to like
Again, that comes back to having like a supportive team and having people who are there and ready to, you know, push for these things. And I have to say my team has been amazing for that. But, you know, it's again going back to this subject of pregnancy or like touring and being able to do this isn't the same for everyone, you know, like a lot of women get pregnant, you know, and there are a lot of us in this industry now. So we do need to have these conversations more and space to say, actually, no, you need to stick to these rules for us. But I will say clubs have been nice. I have had some really, really good experiences people within venues.
It's good to
getting
hear.
a stall, which is really, really been amazing. Or just making sure if there are people smoking, someone has been near my face or whatever, they've been like, can you not smoke in her face?
I know. Also, like, I'm curious, like, too, and sorry, there's so much background noise today, of course.
I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Thank God. Someone's literally hammering next door right now. I'm like, really? But yeah, that's actually really, really reassuring to hear. And because you would think that, like, automatically, like, if someone sees someone with, like, a pregnant belly, that they would at least move away, you know. But we all know, like, everyone's is inebriated. So people aren't in their right minds on the best of times. So, but yeah, it's such a fascinating thing to kind of try and navigate, and also to be speaking about. Because again, like, I don't know, like for me, like, and I'm not sure if this was the case for you guys when you were starting out, but like, it was so rare that I would see other women on the lineup. And now it's becoming so much more of a thing, which is wonderful. Yeah. Like it's fantastic. And it needs to therefore there needs to be conversations around this of how do we make the space more conducive for things like pregnancy, because we are women and some of us are going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we don't want to stop DJing, you know?
Exactly.
If anything, it might like propel us to do it even more. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.